Seventh Heaven wasn't just a TV show, it was a safe place, a family that welcomed us into their home every week. But behind the smiles, real lives unfolded in silence. In 2026, some of the faces that once brought us comfort are gone, and their stories ended far too soon. What really happened to them? Stay with us as we reveal their real lives, ages, and the truths no one talked about. Stephen Collins as Reverend Eric Camden. For many viewers, Eric Camden wasn't just a character. He was the father figure who always seemed to have time, patience, and the right words. Stephen Collins was 49 years old in 1996 when he took on the role of Reverend Eric Camden, bringing quiet authority and warmth to the center of Seventh Heaven. His presence grounded the series, turning ordinary family conflicts into moral conversations. Over 243 episodes, that calm, reassuring figure became unforgettable. Stephen Weaver Collins was born on October 1, 1947, in Des Moines, Iowa, and raised in a middle-class family defined by constant movement. His father's career as an airline executive meant frequent relocations, something Collins later described as emotionally destabilizing, making long-term friendships difficult to sustain. He learned early how to adapt, to appear composed, intelligent, and reliable even when internally unsettled. That habit of emotional control followed him into adulthood. Before Seventh Heaven, Collins had already built a respected career, earning recognition in All the President's Men and as Captain Willard Decker in Star Trek: The Motion Picture. An Emmy nomination for the two Mrs. Grenvilles further cemented his credibility as a dramatic actor. Yet none of those roles reshaped his public identity like Eric Camden did, especially as he navigated a long and increasingly strained marriage to actress Faye Grant. The pressure of embodying America's ideal father slowly collided with a far more complicated private life. That collision became public in 2014, when Collins admitted to inappropriate sexual conduct involving multiple minors. The confession erased his career almost instantly, leading to public condemnation, professional exile, and the collapse of his marriage. In the years that followed, he withdrew from public view, reportedly struggling with depression and relying on meditation to endure isolation. The contrast between who audiences believed he was and who he truly was became impossible to reconcile. Today, Stephen Collins is 79 years old and lives quietly in Fairfield, Iowa, far removed from Hollywood and the role that once defined him. His estimated net worth stands at around $3 million, reflecting earnings from his career before scandal, reduced by lost opportunities and legal expenses. His legacy remains deeply conflicted, remembered as television's most comforting father and one of its most sobering illusions. Alan Fudge as Lou Dalton. Lou Dalton always carried the quiet weight of a man who had already lived through more than he cared to explain. Alan Fudge was 53 years old in 1997 when he portrayed Lou Dalton, giving the character a restrained, world-weary presence that felt unmistakably real. His scenes were never loud or attention-seeking, yet they lingered long after they ended. Across roughly 20 episodes, Lou Dalton became a necessary shadow in Seventh Heaven, reminding viewers that life is not always neatly resolved. Alan Fudge was born on February 27, 1944, in Wichita, Kansas, into a working-class family struggling with economic hardship in the aftermath of World War II. Money was scarce, and his parents worked relentlessly, forcing him to grow up quickly and rely on himself from an early age. That childhood offered little comfort, but built endurance and emotional self-sufficiency. Those traits would follow him throughout his life, both on stage and off. From local theater to national television, Fudge built his career through discipline and persistence rather than fame. He became known for recurring roles in Man from Atlantis and Aisheed, while also appearing in films such as The Natural alongside Robert Redford. He was never a headline star, but he became one of television's most dependable character actors, instantly recognizable even when his name escaped audiences. Seventh Heaven leaned into that familiarity, allowing Lou Dalton to feel authentic and grounded. Fudge's personal life was largely stable. He married Catherine Jean Brown in 1980, and together they raised 3 children. Although frequent acting work kept him away from home at times, his family life remained free of public scandal. In his later years, he was diagnosed with lung and liver cancer and quietly endured a difficult battle that lasted about a year. Finally, Alan Fudge passed away on October 10, 2011, in Los Angeles, at the age of 67, due to lung and liver cancer. His death came quietly, much like the way he lived and worked. His estimated net worth was around $1 million, earned through decades of steady acting rather than high-profile stardom. He left behind a modest but meaningful legacy, one built on reliability, craft, and dignity. Lorenzo Brino as Sam Camden. For longtime fans of Seventh Heaven, Sam Camden represents a softer chapter of the show. Small moments of laughter, mischief, and growing up at the family's edges. Lorenzo Brino was just 1 year old in 1999 when he became one of the faces behind Sam Camden, sharing the role with his quadruplet siblings. Though too young to speak lines, his presence felt constant and familiar. Across 138 episodes, viewers watched him grow without realizing how brief that journey would be. Lorenzo Nathaniel Brino was born on September 21, 1998 in Woodland Hills, Los Angeles, one of 4 non-identical quadruplets. His childhood unfolded under studio lights, where filming schedules replaced normal routines and privacy was limited from the very beginning. Growing up in front of cameras brought a unique kind of pressure, blurring the line between everyday life and performance. Fame arrived before identity had time to form. Unlike many former child actors, Lorenzo did not chase the spotlight as he grew older. His acting life remained closely tied to Seventh Heaven, followed by only a handful of small roles later on, including work connected to The Young and the Restless. To audiences, he remained frozen in memory as the youngest Camden child. Sadly, Lorenzo never married and stayed especially close to his siblings, who had shared every stage of life with him from birth. On March 9, 2020, tragedy struck when he lost control of his Toyota Camry and crashed into a utility pole in Yucaipa, California. He was only 21 years old. The suddenness of the accident left his family and longtime viewers stunned. At the time of his death, Lorenzo Brino's net worth was estimated at approximately $500,000, earned primarily during his childhood years on television. Deborah Raffin as Julie Camden Hastings. Julie Camden Hastings entered Seventh Heaven with the calm gravity of someone shaped by experience rather than innocence. Deborah Raffin was 43 years old in 1996 when she brought Julie to life, giving the character maturity, restraint, and emotional depth. Her presence never demanded attention, yet it gently slowed each scene, asking the audience to listen. Appearing in roughly 10 episodes, Julie left a lasting impression without ever overstaying her welcome. Deborah Iona Raffin was born on March 13, 1953, in Los Angeles, California, and grew up surrounded by Hollywood expectations. As the daughter of actress Trudy Marshall, she was exposed early to the industry's glamour and pressure, but not to stability. Frequent movement and constant scrutiny fostered a sense of isolation beneath her polished exterior. Even early success came with emotional cost. Raffin began her career as a model before transitioning into acting, earning critical attention for Once Is Not Enough, which brought her a Golden Globe nomination for Most Promising New Actress. She later starred in Touched by Love, a role that defined much of her public image despite its controversy. When acting opportunities slowed, she reinvented herself by co-founding Dove Books on Tape, becoming a pioneer in the audiobook industry, and producing thousands of spoken-word titles. It was a rare and intelligent second act built on longevity rather than visibility. Her personal life, however, carried quiet strain. Raffin was married to producer Michael Viner from 1974 until their divorce in 2005, a relationship that blended love and business but eventually collapsed under emotional and professional pressure. The separation left deep personal wounds. In 2011, she was diagnosed with leukemia, beginning a difficult year of treatment and withdrawal from public life. Sadly, Deborah Raffin died on November 21, 2012, at the Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center in Los Angeles at the age of 59, following her battle with leukemia. Her passing marked the end of a life defined by reinvention and resilience. Her estimated net worth stood at approximately $2 million, earned through acting and her audiobook publishing business. She is remembered as a woman who kept rebuilding herself, right up until time ran out. Catherine Hicks as Annie Camden. Annie Camden felt like the emotional anchor of Seventh Heaven, the mother who held the family together through exhaustion, doubt, and quiet sacrifice. Catherine Hicks was 45 years old in 1996 when she became Annie Camden, shaping the role with warmth, restraint, and moral steadiness. Her performance balanced tenderness with authority, never overpowering the story, but guiding it. Across 243 episodes, Annie Camden became one of television's most enduring maternal figures. Catherine Mary Hicks was born on August 6, 1951, in New York City, and spent much of her childhood growing up in Scottsdale, Arizona. Raised in a strict Catholic household, she faced intense academic expectations and frequent school changes that made social adjustment difficult. Discipline was emphasized early, sometimes at the expense of emotional ease. Those formative pressures helped mold her sense of responsibility, but also created quiet internal strain. Before Seventh Heaven, Hicks had already built a respected career, earning recognition in Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home, and the psychological horror classic Child's Play, which brought her a Saturn Award nomination. She was also praised for her Emmy-nominated portrayal of Marilyn Monroe in Marilyn, The Untold Story. Yet it was Annie Camden who became her defining role, transforming her into a symbol of compassion and moral clarity for an entire generation of viewers. Hicks married special effects artist Kevin Gallagher in 1990, and together they raised a daughter. While their marriage remained stable, Hicks later spoke about the strain of balancing long filming schedules with motherhood, especially during the peak years of Seventh Heaven. The role that celebrated family values demanded personal sacrifice to sustain it. Today, Catherine Hicks is 75 years old. She has retired from acting and lives a quiet, peaceful life away from the spotlight. Her estimated net worth is around $3 million, accumulated through decades of acting work and residual royalties. Her legacy endures through Annie Camden, a character remembered not for drama, but for steadiness, empathy, and quiet strength. Beverley Mitchell as Lucy Camden. Lucy Camden grew up on screen as one of Seventh Heaven's most emotionally expressive children, moving from innocence to complexity in full view of the audience. Beverley Mitchell was only 15 years old in 1996 when she stepped into the role of Lucy Camden, bringing vulnerability, energy, and emotional honesty to the character. Her performance evolved naturally as the series matured. Over 243 episodes, Lucy became one of the show's most relatable voices. Beverly Ann Mitchell was born on January 22, 1981, in Arcadia, California, and raised in a middle-class family. Beginning her acting career at a young age introduced pressure early, forcing her to juggle school, work, and public attention before most children find balance. Academic demands and limited free time created emotional strain during her formative years. Childhood unfolded quickly, leaving little room for normal adolescence. Although Seventh Heaven remained the centerpiece of her career, Mitchell explored other paths after the series. She appeared in Saw 2, took on various film roles, and released a country music album that reflected her personal storytelling style. While she never pursued major awards, she remained closely connected to fans through projects like the podcast Catching Up with the Camdens, revisiting the show alongside former castmates. Her career evolved toward connection rather than reinvention. Sadly, Mitchell married Michael Cameron in 2008, and together they built a family with 3 children. In 2018, she suffered a miscarriage, an experience she later described as deeply painful and emotionally destabilizing. She also faced reproductive health challenges, but worked through them with resilience and openness. Motherhood reshaped her priorities, anchoring her life beyond entertainment. Today, Beverley Mitchell is 45 years old. She remains active in the entertainment world through podcasting, occasional acting, and personal projects. Her estimated net worth is approximately $2.5 million, derived from acting, music, and business ventures. Her story is one of endurance, growing up in front of millions, then choosing a life defined by family, honesty, and continuity. Mackenzie Rosman as Ruthie Camden. Ruthie Camden grew up in front of millions, transforming from the youngest child in the family into one of the show's most outspoken voices. Mackenzie Rosman was just 7 years old in 1996 when she took on the role of Ruthie Camden, carrying a surprising emotional weight for someone so young. Her sharp delivery and fearless honesty often stole scenes from actors twice her age. Across 239 episodes, Ruthie became the character audiences watched mature in real time. Mackenzie Rosman was born on December 28, 1989, in Charleston, South Carolina, and spent most of her childhood under constant public attention. Fame arrived early, leaving little space for a normal upbringing filled with privacy or spontaneity. Media scrutiny and work schedules replaced the rhythms of an ordinary childhood, creating pressure long before adulthood began. The experience shaped her independence, but not without cost. After Seventh Heaven, Rosman continued acting with roles in The Secret Life of the American Teenager and the cult thriller Ghost Shark. While she never pursued major awards or headline stardom, her career reflected personal choice rather than ambition. Outside of acting, she developed a deep passion for competitive horseback riding and charitable work. Over time, purpose mattered more than visibility. Rosman never married publicly, and her personal life remained mostly private. In 2022, she became a mother, welcoming her daughter while navigating the challenges of single parenthood. Family illness deeply influenced her worldview. Her stepsister's long battle with cystic fibrosis led Rosman to become an active supporter of related charities and organ donation awareness. Advocacy became a way of giving meaning to loss. Now, Mackenzie Rosman is 37 years old. She has largely stepped back from acting to focus on her personal life, motherhood, and philanthropy. Her estimated net worth is around $1 million, earned primarily through her years on television. Her story is one of early fame followed by deliberate quiet, choosing depth over noise. David Gallagher as Simon Camden. Simon Camden was the restless middle child, the one always testing limits, searching for identity, and pushing against authority. David Gallagher was 11 years old in 1996 when he stepped into Simon Camden, bringing intensity and emotional volatility to the role. His performance captured the confusion of adolescence with uncommon realism. Over 197 episodes, Simon became one of the show's most complex arcs. David Lee Gallagher was born on February 9, 1985, in New York City, into a family marked early by separation. His parents divorced when he was very young, leading to frequent moves and emotional instability throughout childhood. That unsettled environment shaped his sensitivity and adaptability, but also introduced lingering tension. Growing up fast became a necessity rather than a choice. Beyond Seventh Heaven, Gallagher built a diverse career that extended far past on-screen roles. He became widely recognized for his voice work as Riku in the Kingdom Hearts franchise and appeared in films such as Super 8. While major awards never defined his resume, consistency and fan loyalty did. In recent years, reconnecting with audiences through a Seventh Heaven Rewatch podcast allowed him to revisit his most formative role with perspective. Gallagher's personal life centered on family rather than publicity. He has 2 daughters with his longtime partner, though he has never married. Balancing parenthood with creative work brought its own challenges, especially after years spent in the public eye as a child. Fatherhood reshaped his priorities in ways fame never could. Today, David Gallagher is 41 years old and still remains active through acting, voice work, and podcasting. His estimated net worth is approximately $3 million, accumulated through decades of screen and voice performances. His journey reflects resilience, growing up under scrutiny, then redefining success on his own terms. Barry Watson as Matt Camden. Matt Camden was the son who carried expectations heavily, responsibility on his shoulders, doubt in his eyes, and a constant pull between faith and independence. Barry Watson was 22 years old in 1996 when he stepped into Matt Camden, shaping the role with quiet intensity and emotional restraint. His arc reflected the struggles of a young man trying to define himself outside his parents' shadow. Across 153 episodes, Matt's journey felt deeply personal to viewers growing up alongside him. Barry Watson was born on April 23, 1974, in Traverse City, Michigan, and his childhood was marked by disruption. His parents divorced when he was 15, forcing him into early independence and emotional resilience. Frequent moves between Texas and California created instability, but also sharpened his adaptability. Pain became fuel, pushing him toward work at an age when most were still finding their footing. After Seventh Heaven, Watson expanded his career with leading roles in What About Brian and Samantha Who, earning a Teen Choice Award nomination for his work on Seventh Heaven. He explored comedy, drama, and even directing, refusing to remain defined by a single character. Yet behind the scenes, his momentum slowed for a devastating reason. In 2002, he was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. The illness reshaped every part of his life. Chemotherapy and recovery placed enormous strain on his body, career, and marriage, contributing to the end of one relationship. Watson survived the cancer, but the experience left permanent emotional scars and a quieter perspective on success. He has since spoken openly about survival, vulnerability, and gratitude. Today, Barry Watson is 52 years old and continues acting selectively while prioritizing health and family. His estimated net worth stands at around $1 million, largely earned before and after his battle with cancer. His story is not about uninterrupted fame, but about endurance. Jessica Biel as Mary Camden. Mary Camden was the rebellious heartbeat of the Camden family, the daughter who challenged rules, chased freedom, and paid the emotional price. Jessica Biel was only 14 years old in 1996 when she embodied Mary Camden, bringing raw defiance and vulnerability to the screen. Her performance stood out immediately, both praised and scrutinized. Over 136 episodes, Mary's transformation mirrored Biel's own rapid coming of age. Jessica Biel was born on March 3, 1982, in Ely, Minnesota, and grew up constantly on the move. Her family relocated frequently due to her father's work, creating instability during formative years. Adapting became second nature, but it also bred pressure and isolation. Childhood ambition replaced childhood stillness. After Seventh Heaven, Biel deliberately broke away from her wholesome image. Films like The Illusionist and The Texas Chainsaw Massacre redefined her career, while The Sinner later earned her Emmy and Golden Globe nominations as both star and producer. She transitioned from actress to creative force, choosing complexity over comfort. Hollywood no longer shaped her. She shaped it. Her personal life unfolded just as publicly. Biel married Justin Timberlake in 2012, and together they built a family with 2 sons. Rumors of marital strain followed periods of intense work and public scrutiny, testing their relationship. Privacy became a constant negotiation rather than a guarantee. Now, Jessica Biel is 44 years old. She remains an A-list actress and producer, actively developing major projects. Her estimated net worth is around $18 million, earned through acting, production, and brand ventures. What began as a teenage TV role became the foundation of a powerhouse career. Lorenzo Brino as David Camden. David Camden was the quieter twin, often in the background, yet always present in the rhythm of the Camden household. Lorenzo Brino was just 1 year old in 1999 when he began portraying David Camden, sharing the role within his family and growing up on camera without ever choosing fame himself. The character aged gently through the series, becoming a familiar face rather than a focal point. Across 138 episodes, David's presence symbolized normalcy in a crowded, complicated family. Nicholas Landon Brino was born on September 21, 1998, in Woodland Hills, Los Angeles, as one of 4 quadruplets. Childhood unfolded under studio lights instead of playgrounds, creating pressure before he could understand it. Fame arrived early and without consent. Stability came from family, but the weight of public exposure lingered quietly. After Seventh Heaven, Nicholas stepped away from acting almost entirely. Unlike many child performers, he did not chase the spotlight into adulthood. His career remained closely tied to the show that raised him. That distance from Hollywood seemed intentional rather than accidental. Life shifted dramatically in 2020 with the sudden death of his brother, Lorenzo Brino, in a car accident. The loss reshaped Nicholas's priorities, drawing him inward and closer to family. He later shared his grief publicly, revealing pain that had long remained unseen. From that moment, privacy became protection. Today, Lorenzo Brino is 28 years old. He lives quietly, focusing on family and personal healing rather than public life. His estimated net worth is around $500,000, largely earned during his childhood acting years. His story is defined less by fame and more by survival after loss. George Stults as Kevin Kinkirk. Kevin Kinkirk arrived as the steady outsider who slowly became family, protective, loyal, and quietly dependable. George Stults was 27 years old in 2002 when he took on Kevin Kinkirk, grounding the role with maturity and calm authority. Kevin's journey from police officer to devoted husband resonated with audiences seeking stability. Over 114 episodes, he became one of the show's emotional anchors. George Sheehy Stults was born on August 16, 1975, in Detroit, Michigan, and raised in a sports-driven household. Financial struggles shaped his early years, reinforcing discipline and self-reliance. Wrestling scholarships opened doors, but acting ultimately pulled him elsewhere. Choosing uncertainty over security defined his path. After Seventh Heaven, Stults carved out a consistent television career rather than chasing stardom. He appeared in series like The Finder and later became a familiar face in Hallmark holiday films. His screen persona leaned into reliability, romantic leads, quiet heroes, men who endure rather than explode. Awards were few, but steady work followed. Today, George Stults is 51 years old and continues acting regularly. His estimated net worth stands at approximately $5 million, built through long-term television work and film projects. He remains a reminder that consistency can outlast hype, and that some careers are built slowly, on purpose. Time has quietly rewritten the lives behind Seventh Heaven, turning childhood faces into memories, and in some cases, into loss. Which cast member's journey surprised you the most, and whose absence still hurts the deepest? Share your thoughts in the comments, and if you want more heartfelt then and now stories like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay with us for the next chapter.